Terrible Houston, largest city in the South, and the setting for the 1953 National Tournament, the United States Handball Association's Classic of the Year. Boasting 6 of the finest courts in the nation, the Central YMCA of Houston is the host club for this year's championship elimination. Genial Lawson Benton wiping up the sweat and blood spilled during the 7 days of torrid handball. Jake Looney with Handball Commissioner Al Schaufelberger are the boys talking it over with the committeemen responsible for this fine tournament. Ike Jones, Kerry Self, John Lomax, Joe Schnitzes, and Al Shepard. Joe Petritz dashes out news releases during the rest period. Due to the USHA plan of picking the doubles from all players eliminated up to the quarterfinals, we see one of the toughest lineups in years. From this rough field, the 1953 champs are Sam Haber and Harry Dreyfus. Harold and Earl Serenko from St. Louis gave the champs their biggest scare when they won the first game by a score of 21-9. Always among the top teams in the nation, the Serenko boys finished second this year. The upset of the tourney was the loss by Coyle and Bear in 2 straight games to Haber and Dreyfus. These boys hold 3 national titles. Dressler and Collins gave the fans some thrills by going to the semifinals without the loss of a single game. The Texas combination from Dallas of Grant and Harp proved too tough for Phillips and Boiserie of the Los Angeles Athletic Club. Alex Trompus teamed with the veteran Angie Trulio of New York. From the New York AC, Beatty and Ingracia. The pride of San Francisco, Michelucci and Bill Key. The Detroit team of Scopis and Kindland. San Francisco Olympic Club Commissioner Frank Nill pauses for a breath between games. From this list, Bob Brady proved to be the champ. In the final game, the gallery saw some thrilling handball, with Big Bob proving too strong for the towering Walt Plakan. Brady won the championship by a score of 21-16. Kenny Schneider from Chicago, one of the strongest players in the tournament, lost after injuring his leg in the 3rd game by a score of 21-15. 49-52 champion Vic Hershkowitz from Brooklyn, New York, was beaten by Walt Plakan of Buffalo. The fans were quick to notice this boy Jacobs from Los Angeles has one to go far in the game of handball. One of the hardest fought matches of the affair was this match with Hershkowitz and Plakan. Vic, twice national singles champ, had rugged competition leading up to this series of games. Plakan, in his 14 years of tournament play, has never ranked less than 4th spot. In this torrid Houston heat, his game seemed perfect. The tricky hops and deadly kills kept Vic off balance time after time. After 3 long games, Walt proved the victor with scores of 14-21, 21-11, and 21-14. In view of the previous day's match with Lewis, Walt proved that his age was not slowing him down in the least. The powerful Brady had little trouble in overcoming a nervous Jimmy Jacobs in 2 straight games. It seemed to be a case of stage fright for Jimmy, especially after his very fine games of the day before by beating the clever Harry Dreyfus of St. Louis. One of the most impressive men in the tournament was Kenny Schneider of Chicago. As Brady puts it, the strongest one-game man in the country. Bob should know about this. In his first game with Kenny, the score 21-5, and Brady is not an easy man to score on. Up till the third game, when Schneider hurt his leg, it was anybody's match with the score 15-all, and Schneider unable to run, Brady went out 21-15 to win one of the greatest matches ever staged in any tournament. "2 hours of hard work and 8 pounds is what it took for Bob Brady to win the 1953 national title from Walter Plakan. In losing to Irish Bob, Plakan proved he was a very tough competitor. Having beaten Gus Lewis and Vic Hershkowitz on his 2 previous assignments, Walt pushed a very strong Brady to 3 games before losing. In the third game, he closed a 13-2 lead down to a score of 17-16 before Brady ran out, taking the title back to San Francisco with it. In the Masters tourney, the odds were all on the defending champions, Lasser and Kendler from Chicago. George Brodemarkle and Bart Hackney from the LAAC gave the champs a rough go in the finals, but lost 2 straight. Competition in the Ulsters bracket looked impressive. Radinsky and Shumate, Mintz and Barnes, Serenko and Lubin. This pair from Los Angeles of Shane and Martinez took 4th. Bob Kendler, USHA president, and Ray Lasser of Chicago seemed to have a cinch on the Masters title. 2 years in a row, this pair ran off with the title. Thanks, fellows, for a great tournament. The United States Handball gang has had it, Texas style, and you are the fellows that put it over. Never in the history of the USHA will this tournament be topped. The Town Club in Chicago and the famous glass court built by President Bob Kendler. This is the setting for the 1954 tournament. With the largest entry list ever registered, the players represent every district in the United States. A record-breaking tournament in every way. Players from 21 states and 48 cities, with not one champion repeating. Ever helpful Mrs. Serenko greets new arrivals with her winning smile. Packed galleries in all courts cheered the visiting players and defending champs from first-round matches till the final playoffs. Here champion Bob Brady meets Paul Stobbe of Detroit. The Brooklyn fireman Vic Hershkowitz warms up on Joe Galante of the LAAC, winning by scores of 21-6 and 12. The upset of the tourney thus far was the loss of Gus Lewis to the very promising Phil Collins. But the trail ended suddenly for Phil when Jacobs beat him 2 straight, 21-10 and 21-8. The fans agreed it was going to be a tough assignment keeping Jacobs from winning this show. Proving too strong for Emus from Philadelphia, powerhouse Harold Schrutt won 2 straight games with his steady drives and jet serves. Always a great crowd pleaser, Harold packed them in for his matches. In Chicago, the hotbed of handball's powerful Irish Bob Brady was the object of all the attention, the champion of the Houston meeting from out in San Francisco. And they soon found out why he was the defending champion. In this match, with the great Detroit star Paul Stobbe, he held him to 2 game scores of 21-10 and 21-5. In defeating the pride of Detroit by such decisive scores, the fans knew they were watching the best. Another man known to be the best was Vic Hershkowitz from New York, the 1949 and 52 national champion. Here he warms up with Joe Galante, the Southern California boy representing the Los Angeles Athletic Club. Vic looked as good as Brady in beating Galante by scores of 21-6 and 21-12. From this point on, it looked like the old champ was out to do it again. Vic's serve, kills, and general court play was flawless. It was shaping up for a great finals, and the crowd knew it. The tip-off came in the semifinals when Brady took the court against Jimmy Jacobs, the Los Angeles sensation. Jimmy sandwiched in a startling 21-2 victory on Brady before losing his two 21-14 games. For almost 30 minutes, Jacobs held Brady at bay with his two-handed attack. In the last game, Bob showed the championship style and won out over the powerful Jacobs. Brady knew he'd been in a game and was very quick to congratulate Jimmy on his splendid effort. The loss of the powerhouse, Kenny Schneider, Gus Lewis, and Walter Plakan from the single field made it a clear-cut finals of Brady and Hershkowitz all the way, with a possible upset of Brady by Jacobs, which was not to be. Not this year. But look out for this kid in the tournaments to come. Television setups made it almost impossible to film the finals of the Brady-Hershkowitz match. The fireman from Brooklyn was not to be beaten by Bob this year. His game was almost perfect. Statistics compiled on the game show that Vic missed only 4 of 27 kills attempted. His daring and at times almost reckless game paid off in the end with a victory in 2 game scores of 21-15 and 21-18. Here the Brooklyn Central Star holds his 15th national championship trophy, the tops for any handball player in the game. This year's doubles field was the toughest in history, with stars like Lewis and Plakan deserting the singles to try for the doubles crown. Last year's title holder, Harry Dreyfus, teamed up with Jack Gordon of Chicago. The top-seeded team of Harold and Earl Sorenko are always rugged competition, and will be seen up to the last day of the tournament. This brother team from St. Louis packed the stands for every match. This strong combo of Sam Haber and Kenny Schneider was the heavy favorite right from the start of the first day's play. Haber, always a first-place winner, was teamed with a strong man of handball and made a dream team. The only men to win 3 national doubles titles in a row, Coyle and Bayer. This ever-popular team was down 2 straight by Haber and Schneider. Not one team in the match got within 7 points of winning a game off this championship pair. Their victory was a tribute to the deadly killing ability of Haber and the court generalship of the hard-hitting Schneider, who also won the national singles title in 1950. Haber and Kenny went on to win the finals from a powerful combination of Gordon and Dreyfus by scores of 21-14 and 21-13. This gave Haber his 4th national doubles victory, and every one was accomplished with a different partner. Congratulations, fellows. For the most impressive doubles field in USHA history, you convinced the gallery you are the best. The champs of the Masters doubles have fallen. Bob Kendler and Ray Lasser, twice title holders, gave way to this rough, tough team from New York of Roseman and Lair. Kendler had a premonition this year, and even though he was in top shape, he admitted he and Ray might get beat. The winners and new champions are George Brodemarkel and Bart Hackney of the Los Angeles Athletic Club. This was George's 3rd try at the crown and Bart's 2nd. The first intercollegiate championship sponsored by the USHA was won by this fine team representing the University of Detroit. The city's team event ended in a 3-way tie. Chicago had everything. Yes, even a court wedding with a real judge and handball enthusiast for a bridegroom. Walter Shook, one of the ranking players from Detroit, was married in the glass court between games of the finals. His pretty bride Mary can offer no excuses for being a handball widow after this warning. Another court ceremony, way out in Los Angeles, will soon be making handball history in the USHA. Here we see Los Angeles Athletic Club President Frank Hathaway and Commissioner Danny Phillips officially opening the new courts, which are to be the scene of the 1955 national tournament. With the movie capital next door, we can see that this new court was designed for the making of movies. The huge 6-by-8-foot tempered glass opening in the back wall was constructed with the idea of photographing all championship matches for the handball world to see and enjoy. Here we see an exhibition match between Jimmy Jacobs of the local club and national champion Vic Hershkowitz. These shots were made during a visit by the USHA representatives while on tour of the leading handball centers. Vic was beaten by Jacobs rather easily in a one-game match by a score of 21-10. These shots are made on 16-millimeter film and shot at 32 frames per second rather than the conventional sound shooting speed of 24 frames per second. The slower motion of the action permits a better idea of the game and slows the action of the ball down for a closer study by the audience. A study of these and similar pictures by local television producers assure us of complete TV coverage during the coming nationals. Check this lineup of champs. The boys are here warming up toward the glass to give the viewers a better chance to make their acquaintance. It's doubles champ Sam Haber, national singles champ Gus Lewis, and the present national champ Vic Hershkowitz, teamed with a third-ranking player Jimmy Jacobs. What a match this turned out to be. The action was so fast, it took a slow-motion camera to record it. Haber and Lewis won it in 2 games, and here is why. Watch this kill off the back wall by Haber. Vic serves to Sam now, and watch how Haber takes this one off the side wall. Think Haber can't miss? Well, watch this same shot with Sam missing his left corner kill. That's how it will look in 1955. And we want to see you here for the Dream Tournament of the USHA. Club President Frank Hathaway and Commissioner Danny Phillips will look forward to your coming to the Los Angeles Athletic Club in March of 1955.